Welcome to Speed Sport Live from the 2023 Progressive King of the Hammers powered by Optima Batteries. I am here with our first place finishers in the Ford Bronco, Mr. Loren Healy and Vaughn Gittin. You guys had a great run out there today. How do you feel about that race course?
Oh, I did the desert lap.
Yes, you did. That's right.
And so I'll start in the desert. It was a very fun desert course, but it got super rough. You get out there probably the first 20-ish miles. It's like, oh, it's a cakewalk. And then you hit about mile 25, 30, and then there's just big holes, big whoops. And then, you get into the canyons, some tire getters, and, one of those race desert courses that you've got to be smart, you've got to be super aware, and be patient and know what, stick with the plan and not get red misted.
That's something that you say plan right there. It's funny because all weekend long we've been talking about plans. It's like you have a plan when you're going into the race or going into qualifying. It's like if you see the person in front of you doing something completely different, do you change your plan or do you stick with the plan you already had?
We stuck with the plan. My job was to get Loren a clean truck to go run the rocks. Now that's where this race is won and lost, especially in the 2-lap race. And that's what I did. Kept it clean. We did have to, we did get a small puncture, which ended up going all the way down. So we had to change that. But got Loren a clean truck, and he was able to go do what he does in the rocks and just put it down.
I love that you guys worked so well as a team. You guys came together as a team, I believe, in 2016 it was, roughly. And Loren, tell us about the rock section today. Like, what do you think of that rock section compared to the past?
So the tough thing with the 4600 class or these Broncos, they're so very, very capable. So we're moving through the back of the 48s and the 4500s where some of the maybe a little bit slower drivers or newer to the rocks or the novice drivers. So as soon as I got into the rocks, I ran right into outer limits with like 30 stuck 4800 cars.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and Brad Lovell's up at the front of them, and I'm in the back of them, and I'm like, man, this is going to be the end of my race right here. He's going to check out, and I'm not going to have a chance back at him. And Bailey and I were actually in the same position together, so we actually passed each other back and forth a couple times in that canyon. We're kind of working together. We sent our co-drivers out. They were winching and spotting all these 4800 cars. Cleared the canyon and kind of got moving again. And so I got out of the top of outer limits and got a time split from the guys. And they're like, hey, Brad's like 12 or 13 minutes ahead of you, still within your range. Just keep running your race. And that's where you can make a mistake really easily at that point. You can go clip a rock, pushing too hard, do something really dumb that will just take you right out of the race. So we kept just, running our race. That's what I always say is no matter what's going around, don't lose your patience. Just run your race. And that's what we did. And so we just kept getting time splits from the guys. And they're like, hey, you're 10 minutes behind. Hey, you're 7 minutes behind. Hey, you're 4 minutes behind. And we just kept we're just
the time off.
Yeah, and we're just trail wheeling. Me and Jesse, that's what we say. We're like, we're going on a day of trail wheeling with one of my best friends, and we're just gonna go have fun. And that's what the 4600 class. That's what I love about it. And as we got later in the rocks, they're like, hey, Brad's 2 minutes ahead of you. Hey, there's Brad in the canyon. And we were like, yes, now the race starts.
Right.
And so we ran a couple trails right behind Brad. There was a couple tough sections right in that area. So he'd winch, we'd winch. Our spotters or co-drivers are out there helping each other. It was cool camaraderie with the Bronco team. But he got a flat tire at the top of it, because I'm behind him, probably pushing him a little bit. And he's like, I got to go, because Loren's pushing. And he had to pull into the pits, and it was over.
Well, that's awesome.
After I got in front of him, I knew I could check out on him. We both were pushing really, really hard. As temperatures are through the roof, we were running 105 back there on Emerson. I don't think I've ever driven that Bronco more than 80 or something. Yeah. I'm just flat-footed for 3 miles.
Oh man!
And I actually had to kick my co-driver out at the bottom of Turkey Claw. So the same thing Vaughn said. I was pushing too hard because I had put about 4 minutes on Brad at that point, and was pushing too hard and punctured a tire.
Oh goodness!
With 4 miles left in the race, 5 miles, and the tire just explodes because we ran on the liner for a second. Tire explodes, and I'm like, I'm going to try to push it into the race because I think Brad is closer to me than what actually was. I should have been chilling out because I had 4 minutes on Brad. I should have just been cruising, but I couldn't get a split time. I didn't know.
Okay.
And so I'm all over the place with this puncture tire. I'm like, I'm going to try to drive it in. I'm going to get it to the finish line. And the guys come across and they're like, hey, as far as we can tell, you're like 4 or 5 minutes ahead of Brad now in like the last 10 miles.
Gotcha.
You've got a minute. And so I kicked Jesse out. I'm like, hey, get out. Let's get this tire on. Because the climb up into Turkey Claw was gnarly.
Yes.
And so I probably couldn't have made it on a puncture tire. And so, was able to get up and get Jesse to get out, get a fresh tire on. And, we got to the finish line a couple minutes ahead of Brad. So.
Well, and talking about that, you doing all the rock sections and everything. I mean, you come from the drift world. Is that the reasoning behind you doing the desert sections, or are you just not a huge fan of the rocks because Loren is pretty much an expert in them?
Yeah, I think the big thing why we even split is because we have a race tomorrow. A 3-lap, obviously, race. We're going to be out there 6-8 hours, so it saves our body, right? And that's why we decided, to split. Plus, it's cool, the team, team effort in general, and it's fun, right?
Yes.
We get to share. We have one truck, so we get to share. But Loren is, without hands down, better than me, more experienced in the rocks. The 4400 trucks make the rocks easy as long as you know the line. Whereas driving the Bronco on the rocks, there's a lot more tippy, gnarly feelings that he's been feeling for 20 years that are still a bit uneasy for me. And so it's definitely strategy, and I think it's the right choice, for us sharing a vehicle and doing it that way. And it's proven to be for the last 2 years. So, it was a lot of fun. I chased him, a few, saw him come down Chocolate Thunder and was tracking the whole time, myself and the Ford Performance guys just driving around. A lot of the executives came out to check this out. Like the passion around this is just real. And so, yeah, it was super cool.
Well, what was really cool, you saying that about the executives, Ford Performance handed you guys at the finish line for the first place in that class a $50,000 check. How awesome is that? Now, are you guys going to be splitting that, putting it back into your program, or let your pit crew guys do some fun with that?
Well, I think it's really cool. Ford, it wasn't just for us. It was all the Broncos. There was 5 Broncos here this weekend. Last year there was 3. There's 5. It'll keep growing. So hopefully this is a contingency to engage more people. I mean, build a Bronco. That's
right.
It's pretty smart and really amazing and thoughtful of Ford. This class has always kind of been, when it comes to funding and winnings, has always kind of been the underdog, and I think it's cool for Ford to step it up. As far as we're gonna do with that money, we haven't really talked about it. Honestly, we
you just got it.
Coming here, we knew they announced it, but we didn't remember until they showed it to us.
I could tell by the look on your guys' face up there on the podium.
Yeah, we were pumped. So. We got plenty of ideas of things we want to do, so it'll definitely go to something we're funding together.
Shouldn't be a problem to spend $50,000.
That's awesome. No, congratulations, though, today. It was a great run by both of you. Tomorrow, 4400 race in the Race of Kings. Can't wait to see you guys out there. And I want to thank everybody at home for watching Speed Sport Live from 2023 Progressive King of the Hammers, powered by Optima Battery.